Good morning and welcome to Valley Views. I'm Glenn Edison, your host, and I appreciate you being with us today. And as always, we want to thank BTC Fiber for sponsoring our program. And you can see these interviews on BTC Fiber's YouTube page as well as our cable channel 18. And today we have with us Julianna, Ortiz, and Jamie Pillsbury from Aflac. So thank y'all for being with us today. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
And first of all, let's get a little bit of background information on you. We'll just start with you first
Sure.
since you're here.
Yeah, so I am originally from Knoxville, born and raised. Moved down to Chattanooga after living my whole life in Knoxville, then did some time in Nashville, and now I'm back in the Chattanooga, Saudi area, and I'm just a very passionate person when it comes to my dogs. My dogs are my life, and I enjoy spending time outside with my friends and family, and it's pretty much, my life is somewhat boring. I'm all about work.
All right, and Jamie, what about you?
Great. Let's see. Well, I'm from Nashville, and I moved to Chattanooga 2 separate times, and moved back to Nashville, then moved back to Chattanooga again, and now I'm staying for good.
Yeah.
I've been in the outdoor and cycling industry for most of my career until coming to Aflac, and avid outdoor enthusiast, mountain biker, hiker, trail runner, and I'm a coach for the NICA team, the mountain bike team on Signal Mountain.
Oh, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess most people, at least I do, because I'm a Alabama graduate, so I watch, so I see the Aflac with Saban and
Yep.
and so I guess a lot of people recognize Aflac that way, at least down in this area.
Yes.
And but tell us a little bit about Aflac. How about what the business is about. I know it's insurance, but what all does it cover and what does it do?
So I think one of the biggest values, core values that Aflac has is that they want to educate first. It's all about educating the client or potential client that we have coming up. We do mainly B2B, but we also do direct policies as well. And the number one value that they instill in us is that we're not selling, we're educating. And that's very important because as we've learned prospecting in the market so much is that people just immediately say no or yes. And it's most likely because they haven't been educated properly on what our products are.
So in essence, y'all become friends first,
Yes.
and then you worry about the other stuff.
Yes, we're trying to build that trust.
Well, it's a relationship business. I mean, unfortunately, it's conversations that you have to have about things that aren't always, pleasant. I mean, you have to look at it that way, but it's so much more of the relationship that's important, and I think too, as Julianna was saying, it's like having that education on why it makes sense, how it can benefit not only a business owner from an attraction and retention, option for hiring and keeping employees, but it's also a matter of being able to truly educate them in how Aflac pays their employees, pays the person for the things versus where major medical you work on, they deal with doctors and then, that type of situation. Whereas, a lot of those bills you can push off or work something out with, but your mortgage, your rent, your truck payment, all of that stuff is still coming regardless of the circumstance. So that's truly where Aflac comes in and makes a major difference because we pay the individual versus the doctors.
Yeah, it's always best, I found out, when you have insurance, because you have it for a safety net. You hope you never have to use it.
Correct.
But you have it, but you don't want to go, oh, that's not covered.
Right.
For sure.
And so that's where your education comes in.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
letting everybody know up front what you do cover and what's not.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of options, and I think the one thing that happens to a lot of us, especially on introducing ourselves to potential contact, and they're like, well, we have car insurance or we have insurance, and it's like that's great. I mean, but where we come in is it's kind of filling in the gaps, and there's a variety of products that you can work with from something small and simple, one or two, or you can we go all the way from accident to cancer to life insurance if you want whole life. So there's a lot of individual options for each individual person. So just because one person wants something and then somebody else wants 5 things, we have that flexibility, which is very unique.
Good. So you don't just have a base policy and they will take this or leave it.
Correct.
You work it around the person's needs.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, that's nice to know because, like I say, not everybody's the same, and not everyone has the same needs.
Yeah.
I mean, some people save back and they have money for a rainy day fund, the others don't. And that's where y'all would come in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one important thing to highlight that we've noticed out in the field is that a lot of people think with Aflac and being a voluntary type of insurance, they think that you already have to have a major medical. That's one of the objections we get. And you do not have to have a major medical to get access to Aflac. We're completely separate from major medical. We're kind of trying to distance ourselves from being lumped into major medical. So you do not have to have major medical to get Aflac insurance, as well as you only need 3 people to sign up. And they don't have to have a voluntary contribution. The employer does not have to contribute. We just want to make sure that the employer has the willingness to be able to deduct from their payroll. That's really the main thing. And those are the main objections, is that they think it's that you have to have major medical and that they have to contribute a certain dollar amount, and they don't have to. It's no cost to the employer if they want it to be that way.
Right. It's just like, I guess, like Medicare, you have to have
Yes.
another policy
Yes.
to cover what they don't. And so this is something where you're saying you don't have to have that other policy, you can just be with this.
Correct.
And that's nice to know, because I know when I got ready to retire, and I retired early, and I had to shop around, and things, and I'm thinking, man, that's a lot. Yeah. I started looking at things, and I thought, well, that's a lot. And it really is, but insurance is one of those things, like I say, you hope you don't have to use it,
Absolutely.
but it's there when you need it, because when you need it, you need it.
Correct.
Exactly.
And I know I had a liver transplant back in 2017,
Oh, wow.
and so I needed my insurance badly.
Definitely.
Yes.
But well, tell us some of the things y'all do offer, you because you're talking about the company and that type of thing. What are the things y'all offer?
So a lot of times what we do, especially on a B2B side, is we look at kind of what they call kind of the bases covered type of situation. So, that typically includes like an accident policy, which in an accident policy that we offer, it can be on the job, off the job. You're out hiking, slide down a hill, twist an ankle, we cover that. Poison ivy, bee stings, so it's a lot of these things that people are like, they're not sure about, but that gives us that opportunity to kind of fill in a lot of those gaps, basically. So we look at accident situation. We also look at hospitalization. So if you're going to be hurt, you're probably going to go to the hospital, and then that kind of helps extend just that coverage there. And then a lot of times if, for employees, we look at short-term disability. That's another option. I mean, that's basically insurance for your paycheck.
Yeah.
So if you're not working, like I said, these things kind of occur. Those 3 items really hold tight as far as making sure that any loose ends are covered, and they're helping. It can help with deductibles. I mean, like I said, you're getting paid cash for the services that we have under those policies. So that's what helps out a lot of that space. There's also, we can supplement things with somebody has major medical. We can do dental and vision. So if that's not always offered, a lot of times under major medical policies, especially in the workforce today, because major medical is high.
Yes.
So, but those things we can do for a pretty low fee for what it is, and it helps just maintain that that base coverage in those 2 areas.
Well, that's great. You wanted to add to that?
Oh, no, he covered pretty much everything. I'd say one of our biggest, what Aflac established themselves on, was the cancer policy. That's what Aflac was founded on, and the founders dealt with cancer and wanted to have an option available to people because of what they experienced, and they filled a need, and we're pretty much the pioneers for the cancer policy, and we're the only one out there that doesn't have a limit to that. And some other places will have a limit to what you could get back from experiencing it, because everyone has someone that has cancer or has been affected by cancer, and it's like you said, it's a promise on a paper, and hopefully you never have to use it, but it's definitely the moment you're diagnosed, you immediately get $5,000 back from Aflac, and they're with you every step of the way, with every scan, every blood test, everything that you go through, they're there for you.
Well, that's neat to know, because it seems like now there's more cancer than used to be. Of course, that could be from all the stuff we spray on our foods and a lot of other things,
Sure.
And cancer is something that can surprise you. I know when I was when they was working on my liver prior to my transplant, some cancer spots popped up, and of course I was feeling fine. I was,
Sure.
and so I didn't realize it, but I had a cancer spot over here. And then the week I had my transplant, another one came up over here, and they had to take care of that real quick because it would spread. So, and a lot of times, a lot of people they don't realize they have an illness. I didn't know. My liver was because of a hereditary disease, hemochromatosis. It ate up my liver. I had cirrhosis of my liver and didn't know it until I had a blood work. And
That's usually when you find these things out.
yeah, and so everybody I'm all about being proactive and taking care of things and doing these things and seeing your doctors and things. And I'm sure that y'all are more proactive too about that as well, because you want people to be healthy. Not that you don't want to use your policies, because that's what you're there for, but you want them to not be sick.
Sure.
Well, actually, we encourage you to use your policies. I mean, that's one of the things. We're not going to cancel you. I mean, if you have several claims, a handful of claims, or whatever the situation may be, that's one of the things that's unique for us, is that not only you're not going to call a 1-800 number, you're going to call GRI, and we're going to handle those claims for you. We'll tell you the information that you need as far as the paperwork that we need, and then we cover all, we do that work for you. So there's a huge service add, not only to, being partners with us, but it's also that's the work that we provide, so that it makes it easier on the client, because a lot of times when you run into these situations, there's all kinds of other things going on.
Yeah.
And the last thing you want to have to figure out is, how do I deal with this, or do I have the right paperwork or whatever. So that's really, you get our cell numbers, and we're here to help in that regard. So, and also on the cancer part, they provide screenings. So they encourage you to get screened every year. Make sure, so it's like I said, we're looking at this from a preventative measure as much as a care side of things when things do, or if they do happen.
Well, I know one time when I was at Vanderbilt, I was there for a CAT scan. And when I got up there, found out they had denied the CAT scan. And my doctor had to call them, and so I had to wait around during the day until that all got approved. They had to say, well, no, this guy really needs this.
Right.
We've got to have this, and that kind of irritated me when I found that. I changed insurance, by the way.
Hey.
Because I thought, I'm not going to fool with y'all anymore.
Yeah.
And but that's interesting, because some companies will drop you after if you have a lot of claims. They look at it as, we're paying out for this guy or this woman, and we need to cut back on that. Like it or not, that's the way it happens sometimes.
Unfortunately,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And some people just, there's some people that just have bad luck. They seem like this. There's always something happening. And I know one day I was out in my shed, and it had rained that morning. It was wet. I slipped and fractured my kneecap. And I thought, I wasn't expecting that day.
We should have met some time ago,
Yeah. And I'm a poster child for that.
Right.
But that's nice to know. That would be comforting for people to know, because you never, let's say you don't plan on things happening, but if it happens,
But things do. They do. And that comes back to the point of really where that's that part of the education component, where it's so important to us. Like I said, we just, want that willingness to partner, with a business owner, and then just be able to educate them and their employees on what we do, and then the rest is up to them. That way, because a lot of times, like I said, we do, it's easy to assume, in the insurance game, that there's a lot of stuff happening, but there's so many things that we do unique, and it seems like every year there's something, we're tuning up that program, or adding this or covering that. So it's,
And I imagine that makes it easier for the business owner too. They're more at ease, because that makes less for them to have to deal with.
Yes.
Definitely.
For
That's
sure.
the first usual objection, is like, we don't want to have to deal with something else. And we make it simple. Even if, on an enrollment, post-enrollment, we come in, we show you exactly how to deal with it. If there's something that needs to be done on a bookkeeping side of things, we can help where we can. And then from there, that's it. It's almost the set it and forget it kind of mentality, as long as that works out. Yeah.
Well, what are some, or I should say, how do people get in contact with y'all if they want to do business with you?
Sure. So we at the Chamber of Commerce, we have created a landing page with a UR code or a QR code, so they can stop by and scan that QR code. Jamie and I's phone number is on that as well, and then Miss Janice, sweet Miss Janice, has, she has our information as well, and we've been added to the database for the Chamber of Commerce. We are members, so we'll see you at the first meeting.
I look forward to that.
So that's probably going to be the easiest way to get in contact with us is through the chamber. But we also are more than happy to provide you as well with our phone numbers. And that's pretty much the best way to get in contact with us.
And a lot of times what we'll do, just so how it works kind of scenario is that, we're usually just looking for 15-minute, just decision maker, business owner, HR manager, whatever the case may be, whoever kind of handles the benefits for a company.
Right.
And that way we can just give them kind of a quick rundown, see if it makes sense. I mean, sometimes we can help, sometimes we can't. Like I said, there's no pressure on our end. We don't really want to force sell anybody because that doesn't make sense. Because a lot of times somebody may have all the right things in place and there's not much we could really do. That's not always the case, and sometimes it's, there's a lot of things where we could help fill the gaps and really just add additional value for what that employer is bringing to their employees. And
that's great because it makes the employer a lot more, I guess, at ease.
Trusting.
And, and then, like I said, this seems really, to me, it seems simple.
It is. That's the plan.
And that's the goal, is to make it as simple and as streamlined as possible. At the end, once you've enrolled, we give you a binder, not a binder, that sounds large, but a packet of the next steps, and we're there at your first payment and your next payment to help you work through the portal, just to guide you, and so you're not left high and dry to just figure out how to access the portal. We're there to help you set up everything and make sure it's a smooth process for you, so it's as least stressful as possible.
Now y'all do individual policies as well as business?
We do, yes.
So anybody can just come to you and call you and...
Oh, for sure. I already got my parents on a cancer policy as well.
Well, that's important really, because that's something, like I say, you never know, the mammograms that ladies get, they need to do those.
Absolutely.
And men need to get checked as well. And, you don't always want to go through those things, but hey, it's better to go through it and then be aware.
Sure.
And with the mammograms, you get a $75 incentive check for just taking care and being proactive. So we call it the wellness benefit.
Correct.
Well, that's good because I know a lot of people. Well, for a long time, I didn't get an annual checkup, and then I decided I needed to, and that's when I found out I had the hemochromatosis, and then that. They first told me, said, well, you might have cancer, and I thought, oh, great. That's just what I wanted to hear,
Sure.
And it was 3 months before I could get into a hematologist, and I thought, the whole time I was sitting there thinking, well, that'll be a good song for my funeral, that'll be a good song, and then kind of find out, he said, you don't have that, here's the deal.
Yeah.
But it did turn out to where I had to get the transplant, but that's good, and everything's worked well.
That's excellent to hear.
I do think one thing to add is our value-added services.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Yes.
That seems to be a loss leader for us as well. So with our accident or with our hospital policy, you will get access to telehealth at a severely discounted rate to what it normally costs. So 24 hours you can access telehealth through our Aflac portal, as well as Aflac's big mission right now is recognizing mental health as being a big issue. Post-pandemic, a lot of people had a lot of mental health struggles after that. Just mental health is really important to them now, so now they're also providing a mental health value-added service as well to help with people.
Well, that's good because mental health, that's one of my biggies, because so many people don't want to admit they have an issue, and they don't want to tell anybody, and when they really need to be telling somebody, hey, I need some help.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I mean, sure.
Don't be embarrassed about it. And then what happens is, well, a lot of bad things happen, and instead of getting help. And I think that's really neat to do that, because it gives you an avenue where you can go to somebody and say, hey, I need some help.
Yes.
I think the awareness factor of it too is becoming, less faux pas, and then I think that it's becoming more of a front and center kind of situation. And so I think by also being able to be involved in that, from a benefit standpoint, I think it adds some comfort knowing that that's something that's covered, because even most major medical doesn't cover that aspect.
Right, they don't. And a lot of people in society, they don't recognize mental health issues, and they think, oh, that's not a problem. They're not, there's nothing wrong with them. They just don't want to accept this or that, when there really is a problem. And it's really deep down, it needs to be addressed.
Absolutely.
That's really neat. I like that. I
Yeah.
think that's really neat. And of course, that's two biggies, cancer and mental health. That's
Yes.
two real big issues in the health world.
Yeah.
And more so than we want to realize.
For sure.
Of course, the cancer is. And well, that's great, and that's pretty neat. So y'all will be, if someone here in the Sequatchie County, Dunlap area, if they called you, you'd be here to work with them.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We're
question.
just on the other side of the mountain. I'm in Saudi, so I'm only 20 minutes away. He's on Signal, so
Same
he just comes
distance,
down the
yeah.
back side of the mountain, and we're right here.
Yep.
Or if they were heading that way, they could.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Whatever works for them. We're here for
Was there anything we haven't discussed y'all want to bring out that?
I think we did a good job.
Yeah.
Well, good, because I like the idea of being a friend, and that always works better because people can relate to being a friend.
Definitely.
That way, they don't have a problem calling you.
Please.
I know that there's been times when I call some of the companies I have to deal with, and I'm thinking, oh, I hope I don't get so and so.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then you wind up getting them anyway.
Yeah.
But this is, I like the idea of being the friendly part, and that way it builds for a better relationship.
Absolutely.
And the people don't have an issue with calling you and talking to you, and they're more open when you have that friendship.
Yes.
We're there to help. I mean, and
Yeah.
especially in a time of need or a situation like that. I mean, that's, you either have a stomach for this or not. And I think that avenue, I'd much rather get to know somebody well and understand the needs that they have, and then be able to take care of them the best that I can.
Well, that way you're working through their process from the very beginning to their
Yes.
eventual health.
Sure.
Yes.
And even a growing business. If we get this in place early, then they just, it's something that they can advertise that they're providing when they're hiring new employees. And then we just let us know you got a new person, and we'll come talk to them and take care of them, and, work it the same way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because a lot of people I know, when I was growing up, my mother didn't have it because she's a single parent. She didn't have a lot of insurance, or no insurance actually. So a lot of people think, well, insurance costs a lot of money. I don't have the money, and you don't have the money until something happens, and then you really don't have the money.
Right. And I think too, with insurance now, what we're seeing in the market is that a lot of businesses are having to start adding benefits to their portfolio, because no one in the past, they never really needed it to gain employment, to get employees to even hire. And now after post-pandemic, a lot of people are at home. The workforce has changed to some degree.
Right.
And I've been a hiring manager in the past, and I know that I saw the trend after pandemic of, well, do you all add benefits? Do you all have benefits? Do you all have benefits? And we had to get benefits to stay competitive in the market. And this is more of a cost affordable way to be able to say we do offer benefits, because we're not anywhere near as expensive as major medical. So this is something to ease those employers' minds, to be able to say, I do offer benefits and they're great and our rep is amazing, and it's a way to entice employees to come on board.
Or a higher quality of employees.
Quality.
And that's the main thing. There's opportunities to even, you can adjust either hourly or salary with a deeper set of benefits, and we're seeing that. I mean, I think it's like 86% of, people that are looking for, new employment. That's a huge factor in what they're doing, or, what's enticing them to go one direction or another. And I think that's a major value add to a business owner.
Right. Well, you mentioned the enticements of having the benefits, because you can take less pay if you've got coverage over here. And because that way you don't have to really pay out a whole lot of money for your insurance if you're, and that's always mine is.
It is. And any type of, we work in the same way as any major medical as well, at least as far as, the payroll situation goes. So for any business owner, anything that they do contribute, if they want to go that route, it's all tax deductible for them as well. So it's a business expense, and so there's a lot of push and pull and ways that we can work out what makes sense for them, what makes sense for their employees, how they want to contribute or not if that's the case. But there's a lot of options. So it's hard to find a situation where we're at an impasse and we can't figure something out.
And I imagine the business owners like that part too.
Definitely.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
especially if you're doing well, there's always an
Yeah.
opportunity to find a way to write something off. So.
Well, that's great. Well, it's good to have y'all today. I appreciate y'all being here, and we'll push this out so people can get in touch with you, and they can go to the chamber site as well
Yes.
and find you. And I appreciate y'all being here today.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for having us, and
Well,
thank
we
you for
appreciate
letting us
y'all.
be part of Sequatchie County Chamber of Commerce.
Well, good. Appreciate that. And again, folks, you can see this interview on BTC Fiber's YouTube page as well as BTC Fiber's cable channel 18. So until next time, have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, this is Glenn Edison from Valley Views. We appreciate you watching our shows, and we would like for you to like, share, and follow us on Facebook, as well as like and subscribe to our YouTube page.